fit, formidable, and fantastic.
Hi everyone, this is Cory McCarthy and welcome to a new episode. I'm doing this video as a general response to not only questions I've encountered or conversations that I've found myself in, but also inane shit that I read online that isn't even directed at me necessarily, in comments to photos or videos on social media, as well as articles. It will be a slight deviation from my usual science-based vegan topics. With the rise of popularity of mixed martial arts and the subsequent sporting events born of that popularity, there has also come a rise of truly biased and misinformed people. Let's cut right to it. Which martial art is the best? My answer? There is no universal best per se, but rather the one that is best for you and your needs. The one that you discover the most passion and chemistry for, and that you can transform into second nature for yourself in time of need. In other words, develop to the point of virtually no thought, rather pure reaction and pure reflex. But there's more, and I will get to that in a moment. I've been involved in the martial arts since I was 8 years old. I've practiced 2 forms of karate in that time, as well as Budo Taijutsu. My training has also involved weapons, both using and countering. Thus, this video will be my educated opinion piece on this matter, as someone who has not just practiced the arts, but has also fought in full contact competition and had to defend myself on the streets. Now bear in mind, I do live in the city, and I've spent half a decade living in Clinton Hill, Brooklyn at one point, smack between Fort Greene, Bed-Stuy, and Prospect Heights on every side. As such, I've seen shit, including stick-up robbery not even 5 feet away from me on the G train just before arriving at Classen Avenue. So don't be fooled that just because I live in Manhattan currently that I'm somehow soft to the world out there. I also grew up outside Dallas, and as a child I've had a gun held to my head by a peer. I was also incessantly bullied when I was little, until I learned the very valuable lesson that drawing someone's blood tends to stop aggressors. Suffice it to say, by the time I reached high school, the bullying had stopped, and it also helped that I had a sudden growth spurt at about 15. Nonetheless, martial arts saved my life, in my opinion, and I feel they helped develop some of the codes of conduct, philosophies, and life skills that I now possess as a man. Specifically karate, in my case. So back to it. What makes a martial art the best? First, as I said, find an art you can identify with, that you have a chemistry with. I may practice karate, and for a time taijutsu as well, but I've also tried Muay Thai. I just found that I preferred karate as a striking art over Muay Thai. Nothing against Muay Thai at all, in fact. I have very much respect for Muay Thai fighters and practitioners. And for anyone who wants to bash on karate, give that a go with a decorated professional Kyokushin, Shotokan, or Goju-Ryu fighter, and see how far that gets you. And this brings me to the next factor, method of training. Let's say that you found an art that you are interested in studying. You need to find a school with a good instructor who you can respect, as well as a school that actually fucking fights. What I mean by that is they train freestyle, full contact, sparring in their school. No McDojos that hand out belts out of sympathy or for a price. Political correctness doesn't build applicable skills or fighters. This is why I love Kyokushin. You earn your belts by actually fighting, and usually multiple opponents in one testing. In fact, first-degree black belt tests require you to often face 10 to 15 different ranking black belts consecutively with no rest. And if you lose, perform lackluster, or quit, you don't promote. So yes, you need to practice technique and master it, but you also need to learn to apply it. And that means pads, bags, live resisting opponents. You need to face the tunnel vision, the pain, time after time, and you need to suck it up and persevere. Being a good fighter means being strong of body, emotions, mind, and spirit. As Kyokushin calls it, the indomitable spirit, or someone who can't be beat, who finds strength from within, someone who has a can-do attitude. If you fall down, you get right the fuck back up. You brush yourself off, you learn, and you keep going. You need to train hard, and you need to do so with consistency and dedication. Now, specifics of training aside, what are your ultimate goals with said training? Let's break this down again from my own opinion based on my own experiences. If you are looking to compete in a sport context, you need to decide on what platform. If you want to go with a purely stand-up style of full contact fighting, then I would suggest a good striking art. Some examples would be boxing, Muay Thai, Kyokushin Karate, or one of the styles Kyokushin inspired like in Shin or Ashiara. You may also consider Sanshou, which is a full contact Chinese system influenced by Kung Fu. There is also an interesting and newer Daido Juku, aka Kudo, which combines full contact karate with throws and ground submissions. I actually am looking for a New York City Daido Juku school, but as of yet, despite contacting the official headquarters as well and searching Google, I've not found one in New York City itself, but give it time. Perhaps one of my viewers knows of one, and if you do, please drop a comment below. If you're more interested in ground game and grappling, then I would suggest a form of jiu-jitsu or wrestling. However, if you wish to fight in a mixed context, such as an organization like the UFC, then you should learn a quality mix of striking and grappling. And if you already know an existing striking style like karate, taekwondo, or Muay Thai, for instance, then you should strive to add wrestling or jiu-jitsu to your repertoire to round things out within your skill set. And the same would be the same thing in reverse, basically. So if you come from, say, a wrestling background, you would want to learn a solid striking style to complement. Lastly, if you're purely interested in defense in the streets, I'd recommend, from experience, focusing heavily on a striking art, not so much grappling. Why is that? Now, this is purely my opinion, and there will be those who might strongly disagree, but street fights lack rules, and multiple attack scenarios can be highly likely, and in fact, I've seen them suddenly occur. For instance, let's say you're defending against some prick, and you take him to the ground and begin pounding the shit out of him or trying to snap a limb, etc. Then out of the fucking blue, his buddies jump in and attack you, while you're on the ground working on him. I've seen this happen, and it isn't pretty. They may even pull a blade. This doesn't mean grappling isn't useful. In a one-on-one context, it very much is, but there is the operative word, context, and that goes for anything, including striking, not just grappling. Thus, my best advice in street fights is to remain on your feet, which is why I recommend striking. If you do happen to go to the ground, get the fuck back up as soon and as quickly as possible. And remember, anything goes. Throat strikes, eye gouging, attacking the spine, etc. Don't get caught up in sport rules out of context. Street fights aren't clean, and you can bet your ass that your opponents or opponent will fight like a dirty motherfucker. So be dirty in return. Aim to end a street fight as quickly and as efficiently as possible. No flashy shit. Go bare bones and effective and get the job done and get the fuck away. And as always, if you don't need to fight, don't. Sometimes the art of verbal manipulation can be more effective than a fist. And it can stop a fight before the first strike is even thrown. Be honorable. Don't be an ego-driven degenerate. But at the same time, don't be a coward either. Display self-respect. Using your words doesn't mean not standing your ground. Anyhow, that is all I really have to say in the subject. So do feel free to drop in dialogue below in the comments and share your own experiences or thoughts. Because I know that definitely some of my viewers are martial artists. I've taken notice to that. Anyway, till next time, my friends.